want to start off by saying happy winter solstice to one and all. It's really a privilege to be here. I'm really excited to get into today's content because there's quite a bit of really important information and really exciting information. Since today is a very exciting day, we have the sun at the darkest point and lowest point of where there is the least amount of daylight occurring today. As it is the bridge and the transition, the segue towards winter, let's stop for a moment and acknowledge the changing of the seasons. And I would encourage you, I don't require it, but I encourage you as I go through this video to consider what are your intentions? What are your new seeds that you want to plant for this winter season? We can start now. Now, pity on those who live in the southern hemisphere, but this is the beginning of winter. Now, let me tell you that there have been 2 solstices of my most memory, and actually 3 of them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to recount those memories and paint those in a really artistic way. Let's first start off with 3 years ago. On the winter solstice 3 years ago, my family and I went to Red Rock City in Pella, Iowa. And we went to a deli where we ate barbecue sandwiches and then walked around and explored the Christmas shops and then seen an outlook of Red Rock Lake. It was a really fun day and definitely a wonderful Saturday to get out and explore. And so the next year after that, what we decided to do was we were home. I mean, you couldn't. Now I'm officially talking about COVID. I'm officially talking about COVID-19. At that time, at COVID-19, during COVID-19, we were stuck at home. But what I remember is watching Sarah Brightman, Susan Boyle, and Deborah Silverman sitting on my bed and perhaps looking out and sitting and setting an intention. And then the lights around the door were decorated. I went on my scooter up the hill, and that was a solstice at home. And then last year, I had to go to school. And so Colin Reed, the intuitive spiritual teacher, thought leader, singer-songwriter, was actually hosting a solstice celebration. And what ended up happening was it was during lunch, and I couldn't hear her and her guests that she brought on. But I went home and I watched films from learning about and movies. I had my mention meeting, and I had a peaceful evening and night. And I pictured lighting candles out in the backyard and blowing away, making a wish of a dream, of a hope, of a vision of what you want to see and come to fruition in the winter of 2022 and all the way up until June 21st, 2022. And so all those memories are nostalgic. But if we could take the combination between the 2019 solstice and the 2020 solstice, we can really make magic happen. I remember driving out in the countryside. It was really beautiful and sunny. And there were trees, and there were so many things I could get out and explore. And then I was home the next year, sitting on my bed, and you could create a trailer for the solstice of, walking around in the woods, and then me sitting on my bed, looking up peacefully and closing my eyes and maybe doing a solstice meditation. What was special about the Solstice 2020 was that that day marked a significant change into the Aquarian age, a thrust forward into something new. Jupiter and Saturn were both conjunct in Aquarius. And so this was when the Earth era, Earth era was ending and the Air era was beginning. And that was huge. It was really talked about by so many astrologers. And I remember, and I hope that Steve Judd will post a video about the solstice today sometime or another. I will be tuning in for solstice videos, and I will be taking advantage of this day after I make this video, in which I'm already doing that now. I remember watching a video about Steve Judd's solstice up to December 21st, 2020, last year's solstice, winter solstice. Lee Harris, the channeler and singer and energetic expert who does monthly energy reports, did a solstice celebration, which he will be doing that again today on YouTube, which I'll be really thrilled to watch when I get around to it. And hopefully I'm making this video before any of these events come out. But I do want to say that what Steve Judd said was powerful. He was talking about anthropology. He was speaking about how, from the very beginning of mankind to up to now, we have been isolated, bombasted, abducted, bombarded, duped, and taken out of spiritual connection, intuition, limitless possibilities, etc. And he referred to such demons as the dominators who want to take control and take power over everyone and to show corruption. And that is not going to serve us anymore. We need to balance out the right and the left brain. We need to balance out the masculine and the feminine. We need to balance out the intuition with the logic. It is the ego that serves the soul and not the other way around. And as he was speaking, the image that came to my mind was a Walmart, a place in which the future would exist. It would be huge, and that was where everyone would live, with ice boxes and people respecting each other's privacy and knowing their healthy boundaries while merging in a spiritual way with people, etc. And if anyone would show negative or angry vibrations that were so powerful that would knock people off balance. It's kind of like they needed to stay in a globe, in a good place, where all the bad demons were kicked out. And so because of the need for protection of people's energies, these people who displayed these negative vibrations would be placed in an ice box to rot out and to find higher vibrations. By the end of 2026, we will have fully moved into the Aquarian age. By this time, in about 4 years from now, the world as we know it is probably going to be a very different place. This solstice acts as a marker, and we need to treat it as such. You know, another story that comes to mind with the solstice. We are moving into Capricorn. The cusp of prophecy is what we're on now. The sun is moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn. Both of these two signs create what is known as the cusp of prophecy. Sagittarius is about shooting that arrow into new territory, hunting down what you want to hunt down, go after what you want to go after. The sky's the limit, limitless possibilities, expansion, growth, optimism, faith, joviality. And Capricorn is about climbing up to the top of that mountain, seeing a goal through, fulfilling it, achieving what you want to achieve, and getting down to earth and really being the manifesting expert. When you think about these two signs coming together, they form a prophecy of what is to come, because Sagittarius is about the future in a way of what is to come, very forward moving. And Capricorn also points to the past that we need to examine and look at, because it's ruled by Saturn. The present of how we can manifest a reality in the now and the future of what is to come if we decide to take this path or another path. And so, because of these three alternatives, we have the Capricorn energy. But Capricorn, as I like to think of it, also corresponds to the concept of the school of life, which is something that I want to talk about, and I may talk about more in more depth tomorrow. But I want to speak about the school of life. Capricorn in esoteric astrology is known as a sign that points to your purpose, that you have a right to come here. It's that point in the cycle where it's time to get to work. The recess bell has rung, time to go into school. Not just primary education or ninth house education, but the whole entire life of how you learn, of how you take on trial after trial of tribulation and knock down that building with that tool and build the bricks and mortar up again. Capricorn looks at hard knocks and learning the hard truths, asking the hard questions, and understanding that there are consequences to our actions, there are limits to how we can expand, and authority and boundaries need to be taken into account. And respect and appreciation for those authority figures, well, that may be looked at under a microscope at this time. Because what is school? Everyone has a role to play. You have the students and you have the teachers, don't you? And the teachers take control. The students are the ones that learn, and they need to fulfill their assignments and get them done, and there's high expectations. And there is a goal and something that you must receive for those assignments and for your efforts, which is a grade. And how committed are you? How much effort are you going to put into these things? It is about work, and it is about what you put in, you get out. Capricorn can also relate to karma. What karma are you spreading? Well, Capricorn is a realist about all these things. It's very sad when you think about a child who is staying at school over Christmas, otherwise known as Scrooge, who is very Capricornian, very Capricorn, bahag bung, the complainer, keeping the money all to himself, all absorbed with ego, status, fame, and money. Impure motives instead of I am working to the highest of mid heavens to achieve what I want to achieve and serve. And my purpose, I'm here to be the best and be excellent and serve others and guide others to reach the top and live in that penthouse of success. That should really be a motto for Capricorn, not the low road of the sign. Other low roads of the sign that the sun's moving into is coldness, of not being emotionally, available in a kind of way. And there's this type of way, and emotionally available. Let's expand that from not just being the Cancerian form, but all the forms of all the different signs of the zodiac. Capricorn may be more emotionally available in practical ways of serving, of actually doing things which have long-lasting results for you. Actually showing their love and appreciation for you. And so I did a live stream a year ago called A Much Colder Christmas. And in this live stream, I remember getting real about students staying at school over Christmas and the harshness and coldness of a man who reads audiobooks with that kind of voice, and you're sitting in front of the fire and listening to it. The cold, oppositional comforts can be a reflection of all that you have by the reversal of something put in your external environment. This year, more than other years, is what I need. An opposition, a reverse, to remind me of all that I do have. Because as I've spoken about in yesterday's video, I have ruined things for myself. This summer, when I did one after the other, one channel after the other, boom, 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 boom. And I ruined the opportunity to explore. I ruined the opportunity to, have fun with, exploring new channels. I have sabotaged my own curiosity and the fun and joy and purity of exploring new things, because when you explore new things one after the other, and it's just meaningless instead of the sheer joy of just what it's worth to explore that thing, it becomes meaningless to explore new things, doesn't it? And we're moving into a sign which is not the explorer, which isn't the risk taker. It prefers to do things by the book and how it's always been done. This is the way that my family said, this is the way of my ancestors. Let's just keep on doing it if it works. It's very traditional. It wants to stay safe. It respects tradition. It respects the way of the land, the hand of law, all those kind of things as a sign. So we're moving into that energy. Yeah. And I want to say happy birthday to all the Capricorn individuals out there, both sun, moon, and rising, and personal planets. Now, this school of life idea, Scrooge became moody, Scrooge became a humbug, um, and about things costing money and etc. and um, grumpy. And then he saw the past, present, and the future, and his outlook on Christmas totally changed. He opened up his heart, much like the Grinch opened his heart to Christmas, as it grew and he understood the true meaning of Christmas. I find the spirit of Christmas to be an idolized version of what we've made of it. Don't forget its origin and don't forget what it's actually about, which is a Christian holiday, period. Now, the thing I will say, and I'll plan to write a novel about this. Here's the deal. I have seen in a dream two things. This was many years ago. I saw two visions, and this isn't the first time I've spoken about this, but I've seen one vision, and that vision was in black and gray, of a teacher wearing white and glasses in a classroom, feeling cold, depressed, dark, dreary, and loss of passion, and loss of enthusiasm, and loss of life force, of just being cold and sober and numbed by what she was doing in a classroom, up at a top level, very close to Christmas. Several nostalgias from last year, I'll say. But anyway, that's one vision. The other vision was a roller coaster, which led up to an orange sky with a black dot in the middle. And that black dot led to another land, and you would get sucked into it, and you would be so close, and you'd be audible, yet no one would be able to see beyond that cloud. Yet there would be music and chants to accompany you. And the sheer act of ringing bells at Irving parking lot is an act of paying homage and giving comfort and light and joy to the lonely, lost souls. That is the reason for ringing those bells in that parking lot. And I plan to honor that this solstice by ringing these hosey bells, both silver and gold. We give comfort to those souls. We must never forget the ones who have went before, the ones who have perished. There's a song that goes something like this that I think is also prominent to the solstice of the Aries square Capricorn Roman energy. This song, Control the Ancient Song, is about controlling the ancients, of understanding the value of ancient history and ancient cultures and figures in ancient history, particularly Rome. Of building up the foundations of Rome. It wasn't overnight. I mean, there's a song about this. And I'm pretty open-minded to music. This song it's a really good song. And it ties into Capricorn about that Rome wasn't built in a day. It took time, it took work. One step after another. And I think to pay homage to this Capricorn season of the superhuman, high-powered self, let's watch and listen to this song. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do it in this video. And I can't go any further without acknowledging the actual solstice traditions of the pagans. The pagans who stopped and took advantage and reflected upon the solstice energies. And we must never forget Stonehenge and all the people who came up and ran or not ran up to it, but they stood in a line and they beat drums and they made music and rhythm, and they noticed and stood around and did rituals and noticed the angle of the sunlight at that particular mound land formation, which I hopefully will be taking advantage of that today. It's all about getting to Stonehenge at the moment of the solstice. Of the two solstices, 180 degrees from each other, at two opposite points in the year. December 21st is when there's the least amount of light, and the sun is at its lowest point, and the darkness is at its maximum. And then things start to shift up until the summer solstice, when the sun reaches its point of exaltation, and there is the least amount of darkness, and it is the longest day as opposed to December 21st, which is the shortest day. In times of old, pagans would sit around the fire that they have created, either outside or in shelters. They would stop and they would pray, and they would bless and go into new moon-like reflection. And thank goodness we have monthly opportunities to do the pagan things, which is to go inside and reflect and feel those dark energies and permission to stay inside. I mean, you should watch Deborah Silverman. She has spoken about all this, and I really have to give credit to her because she was the one who inspired me to get interested in astrology. She was the first astrologer I have ever watched and followed, and always will be in my heart. One day I'll go attend a flight of, I'm sort of going off the beaten path here. So I want to get back on track. Now it's time to go inside, get comfortable, spend time with your family and your close circle of friends. Prepare for Christmas. Take it slow, take it easy. The moon is in Sagittarius today, which is a celebration. But that Capricorn influence can be a quiet and cold but warm influence. Understand the warmth and tenderness and comfort of the cold. Because there's real comfort in the cold. And comfort in the warm too. And can you find the light in the dark and comfort in the cold? That's the theme for the solstice, I will say. And any solstice for that matter. So even if it is harsh, even if it is about work and getting serious and all that, let's send out our, acknowledgement to those figures. Because this is their time and we have a celebration with earthly lights, Christmas decorations, all that coming up on December 25th. The Christian holiday where we acknowledge the birth of Christ as he brought in love, joy and faith and hope and peace to everything. And it was supposed to remove and cast out Satan. And so, I'm surprised that that is not a swear word, not considered a swear word. With all the rules and regulations, with all those limitations, now's the time to respect and understand why those things are put in place. And then next month, it's going to be a whole nother conversation. We're going to get into the 1960s, we're going to get into here, we're going to get into the civil rights movements and all those things next month. But this is far off away from this time. Now is the time to live this Capricorn season. So now is the time to read, watch videos, attend live events, stay inside, cuddle close. I have stuffed animals, I have my bed, I have all those things. Counting our blessings as well. Counting what there is to be thankful for. And so, this is my message for the solstice. I hope that you enjoy. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.